All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're diving deep into a concept that is, quite literally, at the very heart of the Islamic faith, but it's one that often gets oversimplified. We're talking about Rahmah, or mercy. But this is more than just a word. You can think of it as the foundational operating system, the source code for an entire worldview. So let's go ahead and explore that code together.
So, if you've ever seen the Quran, you'll know that nearly every single chapter kicks off with this one powerful phrase, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It means, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. But here's the thing. It's not just a formality, not just a simple hello. It's really a universal declaration. It's a constant grounding reminder that, according to Islam, the entire universe, existence itself, is built on and sustained by an all-encompassing mercy.
So what is Rahmah really? I mean, mercy is the go-to translation, but it doesn't quite capture the whole picture, does it? It's not just a passive feeling, like feeling sorry for someone. It's an active principle. It's a complete system. It starts with this feeling of tenderness in your heart that then compels you to act, to be kind, to do good, to stop harm from happening, and to actively try and ease the suffering of others. It's an entire worldview packed into a single word. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. We're going to follow the natural flow of this idea. We'll start at the very top with the divine source of all mercy. Then we'll see how it was perfectly embodied in the prophetic example. From there, we'll get practical and look at how this idea is turned into action, how it's meant to radiate outwards in these circles of mercy, and finally, what all this means for us as a call for our world today. First up, the divine source. Because to really get a handle on mercy in Islam, you absolutely have to start where it all begins, with the very nature of God. Now, this is really interesting. Islam breaks down divine mercy into two distinct but related concepts. First, you have ar-Rahman. Think of this as the universal, all-inclusive mercy. It's the rain that falls on everyone's garden, right? The sun that shines on every single plant, the air that every creature breathes, whether they're a believer or not. But then you have ar-Rahim, and this one is a more specific, more profound mercy. It's reserved for those who believe and then act on that belief. Okay, this is a huge statement. A divine declaration where God himself says that mercy is the default setting of the universe. It's the primary force. It comes first, and it ultimately overrides everything else. This sets up a profound idea. Mercy isn't just one of God's attributes, it's the one that defines and governs all the others. So we know it's vast, we know it's the dominant force, but can we even begin to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of it? Well, the tradition offers us this stunning analogy to help us try. Just let that sink in for a second. Every single act of kindness you've ever seen, a mother's love for her child, the compassion of a total stranger, even the affection an animal has for its young, all of it, everything, comes from just 1% of God's total mercy. The other 99 parts, they're being held in reserve. I mean, it's a concept that's just designed to fill your heart with an unbelievable amount of hope. But, a divine concept can feel a little abstract, can't it? So how does this incredible mercy actually show up in human form? Well, that brings us to the prophetic example. This is basically the mission statement given to the Prophet Muhammad in the Quran. And what's so fascinating here is the wording. It doesn't say a mercy to Muslims or a mercy to Arabs. It says to the worlds, plural. That means for all people, all creatures, all of existence. His entire purpose was to be a living, breathing embodiment of that divine principle. And this idea is perfectly captured in a famous story from his life. Imagine this. He's at one of his absolute lowest points. He's been brutally rejected and attacked by the people of a city. And in that moment, he's given the ultimate power for payback. The angel of the mountains literally shows up and says, just give the word and I will crush them. Total vengeance, right there on a silver platter. But his response? It wasn't about revenge. It was about hope. He chose mercy, praying for the future of the very people who had just hurt him. So, we've got the divine source and the human example. The next logical question is, well, how does an ordinary person actually build this quality inside themselves? Islam provides a framework for that, for turning the idea of mercy into a lived reality. This is the core equation right here. It's a direct conditional relationship. You want to receive mercy from the divine? Then you have to be a source of mercy for everything and everyone here on earth. Our actions in this life directly affect the grace we receive from above. It's not just about believing in mercy. It's all about practicing it. And if you look at the core pillars of the faith, They're basically designed as practical training grounds for that mercy. Charity, that's mercy in action for the poor. The daily prayers, they're meant to stop you from doing harmful things, which is a mercy to the entire society. And fasting, wow, fasting is like a masterclass in empathy. It literally makes you feel the hunger of the poor, turning this theoretical compassion into a real lived experience that pushes you to act.
Now, this mercy isn't meant to be kept to yourself. The whole goal is for it to radiate outwards, like ripples in a pond, touching every single part of your life in these growing concentric circles.
And the tradition is very specific about these circles. It starts with your parents, especially as they get older. It extends to children, where a simple act of affection like a kiss is seen as a sign of a merciful heart. It demands that you proactively care for the weak and needy, not as some favor, but as a direct path to your own provision. And it even extends to people who make mistakes, calling for gentle guidance instead of harsh judgment.
And that circle of mercy just keeps expanding beyond humanity. There are these two stories from the prophetic tradition that make this point in such a stark, unforgettable way. They teach this profound lesson. A seemingly tiny act of cruelty or kindness towards an animal, a creature that can't even speak up for itself, can have eternal consequences. Your destiny could literally hinge on how you treat a thirsty dog.
So the circle keeps getting wider. It includes specific rights for animals, to be fed, to be watered, to not be overburdened. And then it goes even further, to the environment itself. Planting a tree is an act of mercy. Conserving water is an act of mercy. Get this, the Prophet even forbade the destruction of fruit-bearing trees during warfare. It's a remarkable instruction that shows that mercy has to be upheld even in the most extreme circumstances.
So we've looked at mercy as a divine attribute, a prophetic example, and a practical system for life. Which brings us to our final stop. What does this all mean for us right here, right now? At the end of the day, this is the main takeaway. The whole concept we've just explored isn't about grand philosophical statements or empty slogans. It's about the small, consistent, daily choices we all make. It's about turning the idea of compassion into the verb of our lives through our actions towards every single thing around us. In a world that so often feels harsh and divided, the call of Rahmah feels more urgent than ever. So the question this leaves us with is a really personal one. In your world, with everything going on, where can you choose to be a source of mercy today?